We've seen two methods of solving equations other than algebraically. We've seen using tables to solve them, and we've seen using graphs to solve them. We just used technology to make a table that we can use to solve an equation. Now we're going to use technology to make a graph that we can use to solve an equation. So here we have detailed step-by-step instructions for solving an equation of the form a function of x equals a number on the calculator using a graph. And we're going to follow these instructions using this equation, negative 5x squared plus 100x equals 350. So that's the function we've been working with, asking what price should they set to get a revenue of $350. And we have a detailed step-by-step instructions with screenshots here. But I'm going to walk through this on the calculator rather than just reading these. Our first step is to hit y equals, enter our function for y1, and then for y2, we're going to enter the number that we want that to be equal to. So functionally what we're doing now is solving y1 equals y2. We're going to put one side of the equation into y1, the other side into y2. Next, we need to make a guess for what range of values our solutions are going to be in. Why do we need a guess? Well, our goal here is to get our calculator set up so that the solutions to our equation show up on screen. And so we're going to set the x values to a range that we think is going to include both solutions if there are two solutions. So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to guess, for the sake of this example, that our solutions are between 0 and 20. And a little bit later, we're going to say, how do we know if our guess was good? So we're going to press the window key, and we're going to enter our guess for x min and x max. We think the solutions are going to be between 0 and 20. So I'm going to say my minimum is 0, my maximum is 20. And those are the only things I'm going to change in this window screen. So x min and x max, I'm going to set these based on my guess. And then everything after that on this screen, I'm going to ignore. They're going to be set automatically for me in the next step. Because the next step is to press zoom and scroll down and choose zoom fit. Here's what zoom fit does. Zoom fit says, I picked my x values. Now pick the y values for me so that all of the y values that go with those x values show up on screen. So when I choose zoom fit, it's going to automatically take me to the graph. And I see it's graphing my quadratic function and then a horizontal line for my single number. And I'm looking at that graph, and what I see on that graph is that there are 2 points where the parabola and the line cross, and they're both visible on my calculator screen. Because both of those points are visible, I know that my guess was good. If you have absolutely no idea about your function, by the way, 0 to 20 is often a good first guess. And then you can just see what happens. So my guess is good. I can see my graph. What I need to know in order to have solutions to my equation is what are those 2 points of intersection? To find them, I'm going to use a function on the calculator called intersect. Whenever I'm finding specific points on a graph using the calculator, I want to access this calc menu among these graphing buttons. So I'm going to hit second, and then I'm going to hit trace. Don't just hit trace, hit second and then trace. If you don't get this menu, you hit the wrong button. And I want to find out where two graphs intersect, so I'm going to choose the intersect function. Okay, and now I'm going to pay attention to the prompts on my screen. There are a couple of notes I want to make on these screenshots. First, if you have the fancy calculator, notice at the top of the screen it tells you that you're running Calc Intersect. If your calculator is not telling you that you're running Calc Intersect, you're not doing the right thing. The second thing to notice is that there are 3 prompts: first curve, second curve, and guess. Once you make the choice for each prompt, you're going to hit enter to go to the next prompt. Or after the third prompt, you're going to hit enter to get the result. As long as you only have 2 equations entered, you can take the default for the first 2. So for the first 2 prompts, you don't need to change anything. You can just hit enter. The first prompt says first curve. You can see it right here on the calculator screen. So that tells us the first function we're going to use. The default is y1. If you just have 2 equations entered, you can just take the default. Don't have to change anything, just hit enter. Second curve defaults to y2. Again, don't have to change anything, just hit enter. The third prompt is guess. We do need to do something for guess. Here's what the guess does. It tells the calculator which one of the 2 points of intersection we actually want. So we're going to get the first point of intersection, the one on the left first. So I'm going to use the left arrow key, just hold it down, and move the cursor over close to the left point of intersection. It doesn't matter, you don't have to be exact, it doesn't matter exactly where you are. Just, you want to be significantly closer to the left point of intersection than to the right point of intersection. So, once our cursor, you can see it blinking here, is closer to the left point of intersection than to the right one, we hit enter for a third time, and now it says intersection at the bottom of the screen. When you've finished running Calc Intersect, it will say intersection at the bottom of the screen. So if it says intersection at the bottom of the screen, you're done. If it says something else, if it says one of the prompts, you're not done yet. And so the X and Y values you see are nonsense. Don't use them. What is this screenshot telling us? It's telling us that X equals this number. I'm going to round it to 2 decimal places for reasons I'll explain in a moment. X equals 4.52 is a solution to the equation negative 5x squared plus 100x equals 350. Okay, so that gave us one of the solutions. To get the other solution, we're going to run intersect again. Second trace, choose intersect. First curve, I'm going to take the default. Second curve, I'm going to take the default, guess. My cursor is still next to the first point of intersection. I need to scroll over to the right until I'm closer to the second point of intersection. Then I hit enter again, and it says intersection, and then gives me an X and Y pair. So here, intersection is where X is 15 point to 2 decimal places, 15.48, and that's also a solution to negative 5x squared plus 100x equals 350. Why did I round those x values to 2 decimal places? Because x represents a price in dollars. And so whenever we're talking about money, we're going to round to 2 decimal places to get dollars and cents. Now we've seen the procedure once. We're going to see the procedure again, and we're going to use it for a second example. In the instructions for the procedure, we found the prices associated with a revenue of $350,000. We're going to do another example where we find the prices associated with a revenue of $450,000. And we're still using that same model from example 8. So y equals negative 5x squared plus 100x. And x represents the price in dollars, y represents the company's total revenue in thousands. We need to solve negative 5x squared plus 100x equals 450 to find out what price, so what is x, to earn a revenue of 450. So y is 450. We'll start by entering the left-hand side, negative 5x squared plus 100x as y1, so our first function, and 450 as y2. So I'm hitting y equals, I already have negative 5x squared plus 100x in y1. I'm changing y2 to be 450. I'm going to say window. I want my x's to be between 0 and 20. That hasn't changed, so I'm just going to leave it that way. I'm going to say zoom fit. Anytime I change anything about my equations, I'm going to run zoom fit again. There's my parabola, and there's my straight line. Looking at my screen, I see both points of intersection, so my guess was good. Okay, to find those points of intersection, I'm going to run intersect twice. So second calc, choose intersect. First curve, just hit enter. Second curve, just hit enter. Guess. I'm going to go close to the point of intersection on the left. I'm getting solutions to negative 5x squared plus 100x equals 450. And the first one I got, when I round to 2 decimal places, looking at either the calculator screen or the screenshot, is 6.84. Now I'm going to run intersect again from the beginning. Second trace, intersect. First curve, take the default. Second curve, take the default. Guess I need to move over to the right. And the second point of intersection, looking either at the calculator or at the screenshot, I have x equals 1316. when I round to 2 decimal places. And again, if I weren't dealing with money, I'd need a rounding instruction. I am dealing with money, so I know I want 2 decimal places. How can we interpret these solutions? The company can make $450,000 in revenue by setting the price at $6.84 or $13.16. Let's see one more thing. Let's say we run this company and we set out to make $700,000 in revenue. Right, that's certainly a thing that we can want to do. Instead of 450, we're going to try to solve negative 5x squared plus 100x equals 700. And so we'll enter negative 5x squared plus 100x for y1 and 700 for y2. So we'll leave y1 alone. We'll change y2 to be 700. And, guessing x between 0 and 20 has worked for us so far. I'm just not going to change it at this point. I'm just going to go straight to running zoom fit. And now, looking at this graph, I do not like what I see. Why not? Well, they don't cross. And so I might think, okay, well, should they cross? Do I need to change my guess? But looking at this, I don't think so, right? It looks like the vertex is somewhere around here. This is a parabola that opens down. So that vertex is the highest point. And then that line is above the vertex. So what that means is 700 is more than the maximum value of this function. There is no solution to this equation. No solution. There's no way to make that equation true because 700 is more than the maximum value of the function. So if I run this company, I'm disappointed. I can't make 700,000 in revenue. And probably my next question is going to be, okay, what is that maximum? In order to answer that, I need to figure out where the vertex is. And that's what we're going to see next.